guess this is the perfect time to talk about nutrition. Everybody just finished eating their lunch. So as Dave said, my name is Natalie Menza, and I'm a registered dietitian. I'm a sports nutritionist, and I work with Destination Athlete. And I'm here today just to go through some of the basics of nutrition. I call it a sports nutrition crash course because, of course, you can't learn everything you need to know about nutrition in one day. But I want to make this interactive, so I'm going to ask you guys some questions. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, just feel free to raise your hand. I want to make sure that you get the most out of this. So, just going to kind of... Phil's going to help me. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay. So how many of you here, by a show of hands in the room, think that nutrition makes a difference in your performance? Okay. So how many of you here have followed in some point in your athletic career some sort of diet or have supplemented with some kind of supplement to try to improve athletic performance? Okay, good number of you. So today we're going to go through just some of the reasons why nutrition matters. So obviously we talked about that fact that it can improve performance. It can really make or break competition. It can make or break even something like practice. Provides energy for training, competitions. Promotes post-exercise recovery. That's a big one, really big one. We're going to talk about all these in more detail. Nutrition, change body composition. So we have a bunch of football players here in the room, but we know with wrestlers, losing weight, gaining weight, it's really important. So all these types of things, nutrition can decrease body fat, increase muscle mass. These are all reasons why people use diets and supplements. As well as fluid and hydration. So we're going to talk about all these. You can flip, Phil. Okay, so today's game plan, as I said, we're going to go through just some nutrition basics, real basics of nutrition, not going to get too in-depth. We're going to talk about pre-game meals, eating on game day. We're going to talk about recovery nutrition, fluids and hydration, and then as today you guys packed your own lunch, we're going to talk about some healthy things, some pack-and-go meal ideas for fueling your sports. So it's going to start off with some basics in carbohydrates. Does everybody here, by a show of hand, pretty much knows what a carbohydrate is? Everybody know? Yeah? Okay. So you can see up here on the left-hand side, sort of why do we need carbohydrates in our diet? Well, for the most part, carbohydrates serve as the main source of fuel for your sport, for anything, fueling any kind of activity. Carbohydrates are your foundation. They break down into something called glucose, or that's what we call sort of your energy. And stored carbohydrates are called glycogen. Does anybody know what glycogen is? Everybody know? Has anyone heard that term? Anyone who hasn't heard the term glycogen before? Phil, you haven't heard glycogen? I don't believe you. Glycogen is your first source of stored energy that your body goes to use for any kind of activity or sport. So you have a certain amount of stored carbohydrate in your body called glycogen, stored in your muscle and your liver, and it's your body's first choice for energy. So we're going to talk a little bit about glycogen. And when we talk about pre- and post-meal recovery, glycogen is really important. So remember that term as we go through. There are different types of carbohydrates, and both are really important, especially when we're talking to athletes. So we have something called a simple carbohydrate. Simple carbohydrates break down easier in our body, and it could be something like simple table sugar, and even fruit. Probably some of those gels and goos that some of the athletes use when they're in long distance type exercises, or even, if they're going to be sustaining their activity for a long period of time and can't get to food. Simple carbohydrates are something that's released very easily and quickly into your body to give you a source of energy. Then we have things called complex carbohydrates. Those are your breads, your pastas, your starches, your rice. And carbohydrates are found in 4 foods. So carbohydrates are found in grains, as we talked about the complex carbohydrates, fruits and vegetables, and then carbohydrates are also found in dairy.